In Year 3, the children learn compact column subtraction and they learn to rename. This is when the children have to regroup in order to help them to be able to subtract. So, for instance, if we look at 354 minus 37, I can immediately spot that we cannot take away 7 from 4 ones because 4 ones is smaller than 7. This is when the children then need to think about how they're going to regroup the number 4 in order to be able to take away the 7. They would do this learning alongside having a place value chart. So you can see the place value chart has 354 on it. And they will be able to add on more 10s and 1s when they exchange in the different columns. Okay, so I can see that 4 1s take away 7 1s isn't possible. So I'm going to look into my 10s column. And I'm going to exchange one of my 10s and put it into my 1s column, so it becomes 14 1s. So I'll have 4 10s left, and then 1 10 goes into my 1s column, so I've got 14 1s. Then I can do a subtraction, and I can use my halving facts to help me. So I know that 14 1s take away 7 1s is 7. Now I look to take away from my 10s column. I now only have 4 10s. Can I do 4 10s take away 3 10s? I can. 4 10s take away 3 10s is 1 10. Then I take away in my hundreds column. 3 hundreds take away 0 hundreds is 300. So 354 take away 37 is 317. Now I'm going to do the same method, but this time I'm taking a 3-digit number away from a 3-digit number, whereas when I first did it, I took a 2-digit number away from a 3-digit number. So I'm going to look in my 1s column first. That's where I start to take away from. So I've got 4 1s, take away 7 1s. Uh-oh, I can't do that again. So I need to go look into my next column, into my 10s column, and I need to exchange one of my 10s and put it into my 1s column. So I'm going to regroup it into my 1s column. So that means I only have 4 10s left there now. Then I'm going to put 1 10 into my 1s column, but it becomes 10 1s. So now I've got 14 1s. So 14 1s take away 7 1s is 7. 4 10s take away 3 10s is 1 10. Now this time I have got something to take away from my hundreds. So I've got 300s take away 100, and that would be 200. So 354 take away 137 is 217. Here is a few more examples of subtraction when we're having to rename. This time we're going to need to be renaming from the 10s column. So again, I start on the 1s column subtracting first. I can see I can do 4 1s take away 3 1s, and that's possible. 4 1s take away 3 1s is 1 1. Then I go and I look in the 10s column, and I've got 5 10s take away 7 10s. That's a problem. I know that 5 10s is much smaller than 7 10s, so I cannot take it away. That's when I need to look into my 100 column. So this time I need to exchange 100. So there'd only be 200s left. And then I need to exchange 100 and put it into the 10s column so it becomes 10 10s. So now I have 15 10s in my 10s column. So 15 10s take away 7 10s I can do. And I can use my number facts to help me. And I know that the answer is 8 10s. Then I have 200s minus a 0. There's nothing there. It will leave it at 200. So the answer is 281. So 354 minus a 2-digit number of 73 is equal to 281. And as I said before, the children would have the place value chart that they could learn alongside doing this when they do this for the first time. Now I'm looking at my next subtraction equation. So I've got 354 minus a 3-digit number now, 173. I look first to subtract from my 1s, 4 1s minus 3 1s. I can do that. That's absolutely fine. That leaves me with 1 1. Then I'm going to be looking in my tens column. I've got 5 tens minus 7 tens. Can't do that, so I need to look again at my hundreds column, and I need to regroup one of my hundreds into the tens column. So I'm going to have 2 hundreds left. I'm going to regroup one of my hundreds and it becomes 10 tens. So now I've got 15 tens minus 7 tens, and I know that that is 8 using my number facts, 8 tens. Now I've got 2 hundreds in my hundreds column, and I'm going to minus 100, and that leaves me with 100. So 354 minus 173 is 181. On some occasions, the children will have to regroup in 2 different columns. So I'm going to show you some examples of that now. So I start to think about my subtraction, my ones column. I've got 4 ones minus 8 ones. Now I know I can't take away 8 ones from 4 ones because 4 ones is a smaller number. So I'm going to look in my tens column. So now I'm going to exchange my one of my 5 tens. So there'll only be 4 tens left. And I'm going to exchange it into 10 ones and put it into the ones column. So now I have 14 ones take away 8 ones. So I can use my number facts to help me with that. 14 ones take away 8 ones is 6 ones. Now I move along to my tens column. I've got 4 tens minus 7 tens. Oh, that's a problem. I know that 4 tens is a smaller number than 7 tens. So I'm going to have to look in my hundreds column and exchange one of my hundreds into 10 tens in my tens column. So now I'll have 2 hundreds, and then the 100 is exchanged into 10 tens and goes into my tens column. So now I have 14 tens. 14 tens minus 7 tens is 7, because I know 14 minus 7 is 7. And then I look at my hundreds column and make sure I take away anything there. 2 hundreds take away nothing. So that leaves it at 200. So my answer is 276. Now I'm going to take away a 3-digit number from a 3-digit number. I'm going to start on the ones column. 4 ones minus 8 ones. I can't do that because 4 ones is smaller than 8 ones. So I'm going to exchange a 10 from the tens column. There'll be 4 tens left. And now I've got 14 ones in my ones column. 14 ones minus 8 ones is 6. Then I need to look into my tens column, and I've got 4 tens, and I've got to minus 7 tens. I can't do that as 4 tens is smaller than 7 tens. So I need to exchange 100. So I look in my hundreds column, and now I'm left with 2 hundreds, and I'm going to exchange the 100 and make it into 10 tens in my tens column. And it becomes 14 tens. 14 tens minus 7 is 7. And then I look in my hundreds column, I've got 2 hundreds minus 100, and that leaves you with 100. So 354 minus 178 is 176.